I am now in the system settings and will now navigate my way to the digital well-being. Here's what I'm talking about.
Digital well-being and parental controls, screen time, app timers, bedtime schedules.
I will go ahead and tap here to activate.
Digital well-being. Digital well-being and parental controls, out of list. Showing items 1 to 10 of 20.
We are now on the screen with all the items found within the digital well-being. Near the top, we've got a couple buttons. On the top right corner, we've got more options. And to the left of that, we have beta. Here's what I'm talking about.
More options, button.
More options. And to the left of that,
Beta, button.
beta button. If I tap on that beta button,
You're in the beta program. Experimental features are available to beta testers only.
and that's all that there is on this page. And there's a learn more to the right of that and a close to the right of the learn more. Here's what I'm talking about.
Learn more, button.
And
Close, button.
close button. I'll tap here to close.
Digital well-being. Beta, button.
And now to the right of that, like I said earlier, is the more options. And I'll move my finger right.
More options, button.
We got more options. I tap.
Pop-up window. Send feedback, in list.
And tapping on that, we have the following. The first item is send feedback. Below that, we've got
Beta program.
beta program. So if you're not in the beta, you tap here, it will take you to the beta store, or rather the Play Store, where you could choose to opt in, or if you're already enrolled in the beta and you want to opt out, there's the opt out or leave beta at the bottom of it. If you're not in the beta, however, there'll be the join beta. Below that, we've got
Manage your data.
manage your data. Next,
Privacy policy.
privacy policy and
Terms of service.
terms of settings or service. And the last item below that will be the open licenses,
Open source licenses.
open source licenses. That's the last item in that more options. I will now go back to the previous screen so we could see the other items that are found here on the menu eye of this digital well-being.
Digital well-being. More options, button, out of list.
We're back to the menu eye and we hear more options. Moving my finger down,
Your digital well-being tools, in list.
and this is a header or heading that says your digital tools. And below that we've got,
Phone used for 2 hours, 21 minutes today.
we heard phone used for 2 hours, 21 minutes today, meaning that if you put it all together in one stretch, I would have used my phone for 2 hours, 21 minutes for today. If I move my finger down, we'll interact with the dashboard.
Go to dashboard.
Go to dashboard. Tapping on that though is going to show me the apps that I spend most of my time on that accumulated to the 2 hour, 21 minutes use. Below that we've got,
37, unlocks.
it says I have 37 unlocks. In other words, throughout today, I have unlocked my phone 37 times. Wow, no wonder it's called digital well-being. I'm recording this though at like 10 o'clock in the night, and so for the whole day, I have unlocked this phone 37 times. Let's keep going. Next,
93, notifications.
I had a total of 93 notifications for today, and below that,
Ways to disconnect, heading.
we now engage a heading that says ways to disconnect. In other words, ways that we could stay offline or leave the phone alone and disconnect from the connected world. Let's now go through and see the items that we have here. The first item that we have here below that ways to disconnect heading will be
Dashboard, no timer set.
dashboard, no timer set. In other words, if I tap here, it will show me the apps and I could set times for them. Hey, I only want to use it for so minutes. And after that, you can log me out from that app. That's what that is. And tapping here will show you all the apps that you can choose to set a time limit for. Below that, we've got
Bedtime mode. Tap to set up.
bedtime mode. Tap to set up. If you tap on this, it will take you to where you can either customize or accept the defaults, which begins at 11 o'clock. I'll tap here so you'll see what I'm talking about.
Bedtime mode. Sleep better with bedtime mode. Out of list.
There we heard it. Sleep better with bedtime mode.
Silence your phone, dim the wallpaper, and change the screen to black and white at bedtime.
And down toward the middle, about 3 inches on the right side, we have a toggle switch there, which is on by default.
Do not disturb for bedtime mode. Only calls from starred contacts, repeat callers, and alarms can reach you. Switch on.
And that is on because I have previously customized a bedtime mode. Mine starts at 10 o'clock. And below that,
Customize your do not disturb profile.
you can now tap here to customize. If you are someone that goes to bed early, you could tap here to customize and choose to start your bedtime mode early. If you go to bed at 9 o'clock, you can choose to have it start at 9 o'clock instead of the default, which is 11 o'clock. If you do not tap here to choose that, then at the bottom right is the next button. And to the left of that will be the cancel button. Here's what I'm talking about.
Next button.
And to the left of that,
Cancel button.
cancel button. Let's go ahead and tap on that next.
Next button. Set up bedtime mode.
We heard set up bedtime mode. Putting my finger near the top of the screen, we hear the following.
Set up bedtime mode.
We heard set up bedtime mode. And below that, we have a couple buttons, one to the left and one to the right. The one at the left edge of the phone is your
Start 11 p.m.
start time. Like I said, that's a default 11 p.m. And to the right of that is the ending time.
End 7 a.m.
7 a.m. Moving my finger down though, we got the following.
8 hours.
That's 8 hours of sleep. Move my finger down.
Sunday. Checkbox checked.
And we have those days that are checked. We've got Sunday because that means the following day is going to be Monday. So you want to go to bed early so you can wake up and go to work. And so all those days are checked from Sunday,
Monday. Checkbox checked.
Tuesday,
Checkbox checked.
Wednesday,
Wednesday. Checkbox checked.
Thursday,
Thursday. Checkbox checked.
Friday,
Friday. Checkbox checked.
and Saturday, another party day.
Saturday. Checkbox checked.
Now, if you don't work on Saturdays, you may want to uncheck Friday because it's a party time, right? Now, below we got,
Use a schedule. Turns on at 11 p.m. Checked.
and below that we have,
Turn on while charging. Turns on while charging after 9 p.m. Not checked.
so in other words, if you want it to start at 9 p.m., if you put your phone on the charger at 9 p.m., you could check this box and that will start the do not disturb. If not, it will kick in at 11 p.m. or at the customized time that you have chosen. Like mine, I chose 10 o'clock. At the bottom left, we got
Not now. Button.
not now, or to the right of that,
Done. Button.
we have the done button. If I tap done, then I am accepting the default that my bedtime mode will start at 11 o'clock. I'm not doing that, and I'm going to go back by doing the back gesture.
Sleep better with bedtime mode.
Back again,
Digital well-being. Bedtime mode. Tap to set up. In list.
I'm back to the UI, menu UI, and there is the bedtime mode. Tap to set up. Moving though, below that, we've got the following.
Focus mode. Tap to set up.
Focus mode. Tap to set up. And what this means is that if you are at work and you want to be focused, you want to set it up to where, say, hey, from X time to X time, I want to be focused. So I don't want Telegram, or whatever apps to disrupt me while I'm at work. And if you tap here, it will show you the apps that you could check to say, hey, I'm going to be focused. Here's what I'm talking about.
Focus mode. Navigate up. Button.
We hear focus mode, navigate up, and that's the button on the top left corner. On the top right corner, we have the more options.
More options. Button.
And frankly, there's nothing in there. If you tap on that, then there's something like send feedback or something like that. Now, below that, we have...
When you need time to focus, you can pause distracting apps and hide their notifications in list.
Okay.
Set a schedule. Disabled.
We hear set a schedule is disabled. Next.
To use focus mode, select distracting apps below. Button. Disabled.
It's also disabled because I haven't checked any of the apps here. I'm going to scroll down. Now we have a heading that says
select distracting apps. Heading.
Select distracting apps. And below that are all your apps. For example,
messages, checkbox, not checked.
Messages is not checked.
Fairmail, checkbox, not checked.
Fairmail, not checked.
Gmail, checkbox, not checked.
Gmail, not checked.
Keep notes, checkbox, not checked.
And on and on and on. And at the bottom, you have a button that says show all X number of apps. That is, in my case, it will say like show all 300 apps or 300 plus whatever apps. And you can choose the ones that you want to not get distracted by. Let's go back to the previous screen.
Digital Wellbeing. Focus mode. Tap to set up. In list. Showing items 1 to 15 of 35.
Below that now we have a heading that says
reduce interruptions. Heading.
Reduce interruptions. Heading. And now let's look below that. These are the items that we find below that reduced disruptions.
Manage notifications.
Manage notifications. That is, if you tap here, you could go choose what notifications you would like to see and which ones you wouldn't like to see. Below that, we've got
do not disturb.
We have that do not disturb again, and you can go in here and customize it. Next.
Flip to shish. On.
We have the flip to shish, and that is on. So for instance, if my phone rings and I flip it, it should just silence it. Next.
Heads up. Tap to set up.
We have something here called heads up. Tap to set up. In other words, if you tap on here, it will take you to where you would be told to be aware of your surroundings when you're walking outside. Let's go ahead and open this app so you see what I'm talking about.
Heads up. Watch your step with heads up. Out of list.
We heard watch your steps with heads up.
If you're walking while using your phone, get a reminder to focus on what's around you. Use with caution. Heads up doesn't replace paying attention.
And at the bottom right, we have the next button.
Next button.
Tap.
Heads up needs to send you notifications and know when you're walking outside.
And moving my finger down.
Physical activity. This lets heads up know when you're walking. Checkbox, checked, disabled.
Below that.
Notifications. This lets heads up send you notifications when you're walking. Checkbox, checked, disabled.
Below that.
Location optional. This lets heads up know when you're outdoors. On the next two screens, select while using the app greater than allow all the time. Checkbox, not checked.
So in other words, if I check this box and I tap the next, then it will ask me how I want my location to be observed. I want it precise, which is the default, but do I want it all of the time or only when I'm using the app? And at the bottom,
next button.
We have the next button. I'm not going to continue with this because it's self-explanatory, and you can go in here and see what that is because that will be the last part, and you'll just tap on the done button. I'm going to go back now to the main UI where we came from.
Watch your step with heads up.
Back again.
Digital Wellbeing. Heads up. Tap to set up. In list.
And we're back to the main UI and on heads up. Next item below that though, we've got
show icon in the app list. Switch off.
Show the icon in the apps list. It's not checked.
Parental controls. You set up family link parental controls for one child or teen in your family group.
We come across one item here that says parental control, and it says that I do have one child or teen in my parental control. And below that will tell you the name of the kid, and at the bottom of that will be add a child.
Set up parental controls for another child button.
Set up parental control for another child. And that's the end of that whole idea of the digital well-being. I will now hand you over to the podcast crew as we reflect on these items and talk about them.